Some say spirits linger out of anger. Others say it's regret. But John Black stayed because of love. Unfinished, unspoken, unforgettable. The song may be over, but if you ever hear faint guitar strings echoing through the rain, just remember. Some melodies don't end when the music stops. Thanks for watching. If this story stirred something in you or chilled you to the bone, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more terrifying tales where memory, music, and the macabre collide. You've been listening to Midnight Echo, where every whisper has a story, and some stories never rest. Jonathan John Black used to say the stage was where lies finally sounded like truth, where you could scream your pain into a mic and people would cheer like it meant something. Now the stage felt like a crime scene, the crowd long gone, the spotlight flickering over blood that had already dried. The air inside the band's tour bus stank of moldy leather, burnt plastic, and perfume left behind by someone who no longer remembered his name. Leo Cross, his lead guitarist, his brother in Everything But Blood, had gone quiet. The dangerous kind of quiet, wounds too deep for words. They'd fought in snarls and sobs, words flying like broken glass, slicing each other with truths and half-truths about loyalty, about betrayal, about Eliza. "You promised you'd be there," Leo had whispered. "You promised." But promises were the currency of youth, and they'd spent theirs recklessly. Now there was only silence, broken by the rain whispering against the windows like it was trying to come inside. John reached for his old acoustic, the one Eliza used to call his second heart. Leo's silence felt like punishment, hollow and exacting. What gnawed at him wasn't just the absence, but what it meant. Leo hadn't simply walked away. He'd vanished like a switch flipped off. The man who once shared stages, stories, and secrets had frozen over in a single look. Leo didn't offer forgiveness. He didn't leave the door open a crack. If anything, he'd sealed it with a stare that said, "You're not worth coming back for." And that hurt worse than anything. John stepped out into the rain like a penitent man, shoulders hunched against the chill, but not just from the weather. He carried a weight no jacket could hold back. Ancient cold, like it had been waiting for him. Rain that doesn't just soak you, but remembers you. McKinley's bar stood where it always had, sagging, blinking, exhaling memories from its rotting walls. It pulsed faintly with the lights of half-remembered gigs and one unforgettable night. He tightened the strap on his guitar case. It creaked like an old door. A memory of Eliza flashed back to John. She was standing right there, under the busted neon sign, mascara bleeding down her cheeks, fingers clenched around his jacket like she wanted to pull him close and push him away. "Don't walk away," she'd said, voice cracked and tired. But he had, not out of pride, not even fear, just emptiness, hollowed out by too many nights on stage, too many songs sung for everyone but her. He'd told himself she'd understand. She hadn't. Now he walked back, years too late, carrying nothing but the guitar and everything he never said, hoping the strings might finish the sentence he never had the courage to start. He collapsed to his knees before reaching the door. The puddle soaked him instantly, but he didn't rise. He remembered Eliza's eyes that night. He remembered the headlights, the silence after the scream, the blood in the rain. He hadn't played since. Not really. Just echoes, just penance. He could see it all again, the windshield fractured like a spider's web, her hand slipping from his, the world collapsing in silence. Her final look, eyes wide, not with fear, but with something worse. The rain had painted halos in her blood and blurred the night into red and chrome. He had meant to tell her that night, meant to say he still loved her. He had lived not just in torment from the crash, but from the questions it left behind. Questions that scratched at him in the middle of the night. Had she forgiven him? Had she known he still loved her? Did she think he'd already let go? Or had she died still waiting for him to come back and mean it? The music might never answer, but he still had to ask. Inside McKinley's bar, nothing had changed. Tables leaned like dying trees. The mirror behind the bar was cracked, spider webs of silvered glass curling outward like a wound. McKinley himself had thrown the bottle that cracked it back in '98, operating under the brilliant drunk logic that percussive maintenance works on everything. The jukebox had been hiccuping the same song for days, so naturally a flying whiskey bottle would cure it. His aim, however, was about as reliable as his reasoning. The lights flickered once, twice, then held steady. He saw Leo standing near the jukebox, but Leo didn't look up, didn't flinch, didn't move. The silence between them stretched taut and hummed louder than any amp. John laid the case down, unlatched the clasps, and let the guitar breathe. For a moment he stared at it, uncertain. It had been a long time since he had played. The guitar wood was darkened by stage sweat and whiskey. Every fret, every ding, every bit of worn lacquer told a story, and most of them were about her. Late-night melodies written in hotel rooms she never saw. Love songs played in green rooms after she'd stopped answering his calls. That guitar had held more truth than his lips ever did. Now it weighed in his hands like memory and mourning stitched into mahogany and steel. John stepped into the spotlight. The bar fell quieter, if that were possible. He closed his eyes. The first strum buzzed against his fingertips like a live wire. Not quite a chord, not quite a mistake. He played again. This time the notes came soft and true, and they hurt. He thought of Eliza's voice, how she used to sing harmony from across the kitchen, apron still tied, wine glass in hand, humming that line over and over, all alone again, all alone. He kept playing. Not a set list, not a performance, pure heartache, raw memory. The air thickened. The sound echoed through the hollow bar like a warning, like the building itself was holding its breath. His guitar trembled, and then, through the lingering hum of his chord, he heard it, her voice, software spectral, threading through the room like smoke, the line she always sang, the song she never got to finish. The mirror behind the bar shimmered, not with light, but with something that stirred beneath the glass, like a memory trying to surface. John felt the strings on his guitar tense, almost recoil. A cold pressure built behind his eyes. The hairs on his arms stood up. The air around him shifted. Not breeze, not movement, just knowing. The spotlight flickered, not lazily, but rhythmically, like a heartbeat trying to restart. He stepped forward. The mirror flickered, a silhouette, then nothing, then back again, closer. Beneath the silence, whispering, not voices, lyrics, his own. Ones he hadn't sung since the crash, words no living soul should know. The mirror pulsed once more, then rippled, not like glass breaking, like a door opening. And then Eliza was there, not a reflection, not a trick, her, wearing that soft smile from their last photograph. John froze mid-strum. Tears slid down his face. He stopped playing. She stepped forward, not in the mirror, but into the room. One foot, then another. With each step, his breath slowed, thickened, vanished, not in fear, in recognition, because something in her eyes told him the truth. He turned to Leo. The jukebox beside him flashed. Leo didn't blink, didn't move, didn't hear John's yells. John's guitar went silent, refusing to play. He tried again, harder, desperate, but only silence replied. His voice died in his throat, not choked, erased. Panic surged, but even that felt weightless. He looked down, no hands, just outlines, like he'd been sketched and never inked. Then came the final confirmation. At the base of the stage sat a flyer from 5 years ago. One night only, John Black, solo acoustic set, scrawled across it, in faded red, in loving memory. Rip Jonathan. The room darkened at the edges. His knees gave. The guitar hit the floor. He understood. For years he had been walking this town, but not living in it. People had stopped seeing him long ago. He hadn't aged, hadn't eaten, hadn't spoken to anyone but Leo, who never answered. He was a ghost, tethered to guilt. And she had waited, not in spite, in sorrow, because love, even restrained, was still love. And sometimes it waits. He reached for her hand. It met his with warmth that felt like summer before the rain. The jukebox played, the light flickered, and John Black was gone. Only the guitar remained, humming softly in tune in the empty bar, while the scent of roses curled into the rain with music no one hears. They found the bar unlocked the next morning. No sign of a break-in, no patrons, no bartender. Just a single guitar resting in the spotlight. Still warm. Still humming. Locals say McKinley's hasn't hosted a live set in years, but sometimes late at night you can hear a melody floating out into the street. A sad song, a love song, a song that was never finished. And if you dare to enter, don't be surprised if you see a man at the mic singing to someone only he can see. But don't interrupt. He's not playing for, he's playing for forgive.